Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
Guru Prabhu, I have started live streaming and I have made you host. So while closing, you can end the call because I won't be able to continue. Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. I think I'm
I,
still waiting for lecture. Yeah, Prabhu
yes,
is
yes,
here.
Prabhu. I'm here. I'm on the call here.
Okay, Prabhu.
Now, uh, I was thinking of what should be the suitable next lecture to play. Any inputs from any of you? I mean, I have it, some of the things here. I can just start playing it, but any inputs that you have? I had some thoughts in mind, but I just want to hear from you. And I'm sorry, I'm asking you in the morning after we have all have joined. Any inputs from any of you? Anything that you'd like to hear?
Hare Krishna
Yes,
Prabhu.
Sharbari Mata. Yes. Uh,
Sarvari Mata, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I was just wondering that considering the upcoming Sri Lankan Yatra in the mind, if we can have some Ramayana sessions which would be relevant to the places. That was just an idea, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yugala Kishore Prabhu?
Other thought is that let's continue that Srimad Bhagavatam what we are hearing. So that could be another thought, Prabhu.
Okay. Yes. And one other thought I had was for continue with Srimad Bhagavatam or to equip the devotees here further. Maybe we can have a like one class summary of one or two chapters of Bhagavatam or one class summary of Bhagavad Gita, so that if at all the devotees want to give classes themselves, that's not useful for them. That is another thought. But if you go back to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, just a minute. So we were there, we finished SB 2.4, isn't it, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
2.3 we
Yes,
finished.
Prabhu.
Huh?
Yes, Prabhu.
4, I think. 3 or 4. 1 minute.
Sulochana Mataji, you wanted
Sulochana
to add
Mataji
something.
raised hand. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu, yesterday I heard like Kumarika Mataji sent you one link regarding this forgiveness lecture by Radhika Raman Prabhu. It's very good like that I have.
We'll go through that. The one reason I had was that sometimes it becomes too heavy to just keep hearing, oh, I have to improve on this, I have to improve on that. People become very tough. It becomes very tough for them after some time. So let's have something light kind of a thing.
We are in the process of creation, Prabhu. Just started, I think, 2.4.
2.4. Okay. Just a minute. I'm just loading it. So in one sense, I'll go a little bit ahead. 2.4.06. Guru Prabhu, I'll send the link right away now.
Yes, sure.
Just check it out. Guru Prabhu, I sent it.
Okay, here's one of your favorite verses all about creation and how it happens.
Hare Krishna, is it audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Matas.
4 pages. Report. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhuya eva vivitsami Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Yatedam srijate vishvam Durvibhavyam adishvarai Bhuya eva vivitsami Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Yatedam srijate vishvam Durvibhavyam adishvarai Bhuya again Eva also Vivitsami I wish to learn. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Atma, personal. Mayaya, by the energies. Yatha, as. Idam, this material, this phenomenal world. Srijate, does create. Vishvam, universe. Durvibhavyam, inconceivable. Adishvarai, by the great demigods. I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead, by his personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In every inquisitive mind, the important question of the creation of the phenomenal world arises, and therefore, for a personality like Maharaj Parikshit, who was to know all the activities of the Lord from his spiritual master, such an inquiry is not uncommon. For every unknown thing we have to learn and inquire from a learned personality. The question of creation is also one of such inquiries to be made to the right person. The spiritual master, therefore, must be one who is sarva gya, as stated here and before in connection with Shukadev Goswami. Thus, all inquiries on God which are unknown to the disciple may be made from the qualified spiritual master, and here the practical example is set by Maharaj Parikshit. It was, however, already known to Maharaj Parikshit that everything we see is born out of the energy of the Lord. As we have all learned in very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmadhyasya Yataha, so Maharaj Parikshit wanted to know the process of creation. Again, the origin of creation was known to him. Otherwise he would not have inquired how the personality of Godhead by his different energies creates this phenomenal world. The common man also knows that the creation is made by some creator and is not created automatically. We have no experience in the practical world that a thing is created automatically. Foolish people say that the creative energy is independent and acts automatically as electrical energy works. But the intelligent man knows that even electrical energy is generated by an expert engineer in the localized powerhouse, and thus the energy is distributed everywhere under the resident engineer's supervision. The Lord's supervision in connection with creation is mentioned even in Bhagavad Gita 9:10, and it is clearly said that the material energy is a manifestation of one of the many such energies of the Supreme Lord, Parasya Shakti Vivadaiva Shruyate. An inexperienced boy may be struck with wonder by seeing the impersonal actions of electronics and many other wonderful things conducted by electrical energy, but an experienced man knows that behind the action is a living man who creates such energy. Similarly, the so-called scholars and philosophers of the world, by mental speculation, present so many utopian theories about impersonal creation of the universe, but an intelligent devotee of the Lord, by studying the Bhagavad Gita, can know that behind the creation is the hand of the Supreme Lord, just as in the generating electrical powerhouse there is a resident engineer. The research scholar finds out the cause and the effect of everything, but research scholars, as great as Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and many other demigods, sometimes are bewildered by seeing the wonderful creative energy of the Lord. And so, what to speak of the tiny, mundane scholars dealing in petty things? As there are differences in the living conditions of different planets of the universe, and as one planet is superior to others, the brains of the living entities in those respective planets are also of different categorical values. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, one can compare the long duration of life of the inhabitants of Brahma's planet, which is inconceivable to the inhabitants of this planet Earth, to the categorical value of the brain of Brahmaji, who also inconceivable to any great scientist on this planet. And with such high brain power, even Brahmaji has described in his great Samhita, Brahma Samhita 5.1 as follows: Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Quote, there are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because no one else can excel him. He is the supreme person, and his body is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. Can you get some tissues or something? Paragraph. That's 2 pages down and 2 pages to go. Brahmaji. So this is Narada speaking to Lord Brahma. He's asking. No, it's Maharaj Parikshit asking. Excuse me. Maharaj Parikshit asking. Brahmaji admits Lord Krishna to be the supreme cause of all causes. But persons with tiny brains within this petty planet Earth think of the Lord as one of them. And thus when the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that He, Lord Krishna, is all in all, the speculative philosophers and the mundane wranglers deride Him. And the Lord regretfully says, Avajananti mamudha manushim taramashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Translation, fools deride me when I descend in this human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Brahma and Shiva, and what to speak of other demigods, are bhutas, or powerful created demigods who manage universal affairs, much like ministers appointed by a king. The ministers may be Ishwaras or controllers, but the Supreme Lord is Maheshwara, or the controller of the controllers. Persons with a poor fund of knowledge do not know this, and therefore they have the audacity to deride him because he comes before us by his causeless mercy, occasionally as a human being. The Lord is not like a human being. He is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, or the absolute personality of Godhead, and therefore there is no difference between his body and his soul. He is both the power and the powerful. And last paragraph, more than a full page long. Maharaj Parikshit did not ask his spiritual master Shukadeva Goswami to narrate Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. He wanted to hear first about the creation of the Lord. Shukadeva Goswami did not say that the king should hear about the direct transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The time was very short, and naturally Shukadeva Goswami could have gone directly to the 10th canto, make a shortcut of the whole thing, as generally is done by professional reciters, but neither the king nor the great speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam jumped up like the organizers of the Bhagavatam. Both of them proceeded systematically so that both future readers and hearers might take lessons from the example of the procedure of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who are in control of the external energy of the Lord, or in other words, those who are in the material world, must first of all know how the external energy of the Lord is working under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and afterwards one may try to enter into the activities of his internal energy. He keeps going. The mundaners are mostly worshippers of Durga Devi, the external energy of Krishna, but they do not know that Durga Devi is but the shadow energy of the Lord. Behind her astonishing display of material workings is the direction of the Lord, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Doesn't give it, but it's Maya Dyakshena verse. The Brahma Samhita affirms that Durga Shakti is working by the direction of Govinda, and without his sanction the powerful Durga Shakti cannot move even a blade of grass. Therefore, the neophyte devotee, instead of jumping at once to the platform of transcendental pastime presented by the internal energy of the Lord, may know how great the Supreme Lord is by inquiring about the process of his creative energy. Continuing, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, descriptions of the creative energy and the Lord's hand in it are explained. And the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita has warned the neophyte devotee to be seriously on guard against the pitfall of neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regard to how great he is. Only when one knows the Lord Krishna's greatness, can one firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. Otherwise, like the common man, even the great leaders of men will mistake Lord Krishna for one of the many demigods, or a historical personality, or a myth only. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan, or even at Dwaraka, are relishable for persons who have already qualified themselves in advanced spiritual techniques, and the common man may be able to attain such a plane by the gradual process of service and inquiries, as we shall see in the behavior of Maharaj Parikshit. So look at this. I hope I just laid it out, huh? What can you say except, yes, sir? Bhuya eva vivitsami bhagavan atma maya ya yatedam srijate vishvam durvibhavyam adishwarai. Even the demigods find it durvibhavyam, inconceivable. So what to speak of ourselves? In the previous verse, it's just Maharaj Parikshit is beginning the sequence of asking. So he's addressing Shukadeva Goswami, O learned Brahmana, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, whatever you have spoken to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of Lord Krishna. This is chapter 4, and ostensibly the whole Srimad Bhagavatam could have ended with chapter 3. Except for Maharaj Parikshit, because he's very expert at churning the nectar. His questions, coming at the end of the first canto, have been answered. But the answer also begs further questions. The question asked at Canto 1, 2 questions were, what is the duty of a person in general, and specifically a person who's about to die? What is that thing that you should do? You gotta notice, like Katvanga. He pleased the demigods by assisting them in some battle, long battle, and they were victorious. So they were very pleased. Take some benediction. Oh, I'd like that nice planet over there, or I'd like a second Vimana or something. He wanted to know, how long will I have to live? When is that time of death going to come? Oh, nice that you asked that question. In just a moment you're about to die. So he consolidated his consciousness upon the personality of Godhead and went to the spiritual world. So we have Maharaj Parikshit asking on our behalf that same question. When you get that notice, what do you do? Who's there? There's death. I've come to take you away. Let me hide behind somewhere. There's no hiding. What do you do? So that was his question. And then, what is that subject matter that one should hear, chant, and remember always? Meaning in any circumstance, whether it's the knock is at the door, or you're going to school, or you're brushing your teeth, or you're, walking down the street. What is that subject matter that one should always hear, chant, and remember in any circumstance of life? So he's answered. Short, devotional service without reservation. No condition, no motivation, no reservation. Unconditional, unstoppable devotional service. Tivra bhakti. And the subject matter that one should hear, chant, and remember always is Krishna Katha. So now Maharaj Parikshit is saying, I accept everything that you've said. And it's cleansing my consciousness. It's helping me prepare for that 7-day away event where death will come. So now he's getting the opportunity to ask anything he likes about Krishna. And he's about to die. He's asking about creation. So it's significant. And he has Shukadev Goswami, the most qualified, and he knows it.
Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions from anyone? Kumarika Mataji, do you have anything to share?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
The way that Prabhupada put it in the purport, so it is, first we should understand the external energy of the Lord, how it works, and then we can go to the internal energy. And the patience of Parikshit Maharaj, when he had only 7 days to live, to ask such questions is amazing. That's all, Prabhu. I reflect.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna
Very,
Prabhuji.
very first of all, I started amazing narration by Maharaj. So his intonations were all so perfect that we were literally in the past time. So I like being there itself because he knew when to go up, when to go down, and because it's a fairly long purport compared to other purports. And getting into the purport, some points would be this purport sort of sums up so many things about devotional service. So the position of Krishna is given here, the position of Mahadevi, the position of other demigods, and what we should do, how should we start our inquiries, starting with the creation, etc. Definitely Srila Prabhupada now and then repeats that we should never jump into the 10th canto, and once again it reiterates that same point here where although Maharaj Parikshit had just 7 days, Sri Shukadev Goswami didn't go into the 10th canto. He explained the creation aspect of it. And why is, first of all, for us to increase our faith in the Lord, we need to understand how great He is first to start with. So that's the example He sets up. And Prabhupada gives various references of the Brahma Samhita, Bhagavad Gita multiple times, what Krishna says. So the whole purport is very amazing, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, like in the Prabhupada Patot, we see there is a 3 points actually. Majorly like, so it is a systematic study of Bhagavatam. So that is the one thing. And he highlighted that like the inquirer and the teacher, both are followed the same thing. Like, and the second thing is like Prabhupada mentioning that like we should understand the greatness of the Lord. So that's where like we should try to understand the external energy of the Lord first, then we should proceed with the internal energy. Then when we can relate like how great Krishna is. Then at the last, like Prabhupada mentioned that like only when one knows Lord Krishna's greatness can one firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. Otherwise, I mean, there's a chances like somebody may feel like it's a myth or like he's there as one of the demigod with some mystic powers. So Prabhupada has given it very nicely, like how we should proceed and to establish our faith in Lord Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Any other devotees?
Harisha Prabhu, if you are there, you want to add anything?
Yes, I think Yugal Kishore Prabhu, you are unmuted. Please proceed.
Yeah. Just this summary that nicely you told and we also told. So this purport, Srila Prabhupada's long purport and Maharaja's also mentioned is a long purpose. Srila Prabhupada puts all the points beautifully. That it reminds us that to build a strong spiritual foundation through knowledge and the inquiries, like Parikshit Maharaj is asking the questions, that how this, though it appears that it's external energy, instead of jumping directly to the sweetness of that. So building that foundation through knowledge and sincere inquiry and service, then we can appreciate Krishna's pastimes, which help us to develop deep faith in our dear Lord Sri Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Harisham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, I just like this part in the purport where like Prabhupada has written. Actually, the spiritual master, just give me a second. There's all inquiries on God which are unknown to the disciple may be made from the qualified spiritual master. And here the practical example is set by Maharaj Parikshit. So Prabhupada here says like, okay, spiritual master, what is the position of a spiritual master and what is the role of a disciple here? That we should not consider spiritual master as a ordinary person. He's a transcendental personality, and what kind of inquiries that needs to be made to a spiritual master. He's not there just to solve our material problem. Rather, a spiritual master is there actually to give us guidance to reach the absolute truth. This is something like in a very like in a pithy statement Srila Prabhupada makes. Okay, all inquiries related to Supreme Person has to be made, which are unknown to the disciple, may be made from the qualified spiritual master. So this is something which I liked it. So yeah, just sharing it. That's it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhu, Shamkun Prabhu.
I'm there. Just a minute. I'm just bringing it up. In this verse, which Maharaj is possibly also going to speak further, is the focus is that the Supreme Lord, by his personal energies, he creates these universes. Parasi Shaktir Vividahi Vishruyate. He has many Shaktis, and among these Shaktis, he uses some of these Shaktis to create this world. And then we have various activities happening. In the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 18, in text 14, it is said, Adhishthanam tata karta karanam cha pratak vidham vividascha pratak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. There are 5 factors involved in an action. And these 5 factors are Adhishthanam, there's the body, then there's this false ego, then there are the senses of the various types, then the prana, the different pranas that we have in our body, and then finally we have the super soul. So the super soul, the Paramatma, Supreme Lord, is a factor, but is one of the five factors, and the other four factors are also present. And this becomes very important for us both on a daily basis and on a fundamental philosophical principle too. I'll come to the daily basis later, but at a fundamental philosophical principle, there's a question that is often posed. Is God the efficient cause, or is God the material cause, or is it the both? There is a material, like for example, if you take a pot requires mud, it requires a wheel, it requires a stick, and with the help of all of this, there's a potter who will create a pot. So the ingredients are those mud and water and the stick and the wheel, all of that. So that is called as, and that is called as the upadana karana, or the material cause. And then there is the nimitta karana, the person behind it, which is the potter. So the potter is the efficient cause, and the rest of them are the ingredient causes. And in aspects of philosophy, there is always a question that raises: is God an efficient cause or a material cause? Why? Because if God is the efficient cause, why is He allowing certain things to happen in this world? Maybe there's a terrorist doing a terrorist attack or people killing each other. Why is He allowing it? So that's how our uh, sages and acharyas, great acharyas, they address questions of this world. They said in terms of this nimitta karana and upadana karana, how can God take care of the things in this world if He is in charge of it? If it is the living entities who are in charge of, who are doing it, okay, they are making a mistake and they're creating all these problems. And that leads to a next kind of a problem. There is no role of God at all. So the efficient cause or the nimitta karana makes God culpable for actions in the world, number one. And if number two, if God becomes uh, the upadana karana, the material cause, then whatever good or bad things are there in this world, that is present even in God. So again, there's a problem for God as such here, which basically leads to a situation where people in general will say, what is the purpose of even going in on the path of spirituality? If he is involved either as an upadana or as a nimitta, that is either if he is a material cause or is an efficient, he's the person who sets the ball rolling as such. Why is it anyway required? I mean, like, why should we go for spirituality? And the answer for that comes very simply from the Bhagavad Gita, that 18th chapter, 14th verse. For an action apart from the super soul, there are these five factors: the body, the false ego, the senses of various types, and the life here, along with the jiva. So it so happens that when we perform an activity, it is not separate or distinct from the impressions that we have already obtained from the past several lifetimes. And that is there, that impression is there as part of the false ego. So you will see that within our group here, some people may like something, some people may not like that same thing. Some people have one approach to life, others have a different approach to life. We all are a product of how our false ego has transformed. Now you can say that, well, I should act from the platform of true ego. The true ego of the soul is that I am a servant of Krishna. We are all trying to do that. But having said that, it becomes very tough for most of us to always act on the platform of true ego. And therefore, we find the consequences of our action also as varied. Because of that, there's an action that is done with one set of the false ego. And the other important is we also do with our senses, which means I perceive the world, and therefore, with that perception, when it acts on the false ego, the sense of aham, I see the world this way. There's the aham in a particular way, my sense of what I value when I see something, and then I react in a particular way. For example, if anybody of you were to work in an office, if somebody were to point out, hey, don't you know even to do this much? Maybe if you are a little older, you would think to say that I have seen so many people like this. They just get proud by just knowing a few things here and there, and the person may not retort. Whereas another person would really feel, oh, how are you questioning my knowledge? I have spent 20 years to get this knowledge, and you're questioning me. What right do you have to question it? Let me try to see, do you really know it? So the senses, like the ears heard something, and after hearing from the ears, the mind processed it, and then it mixed with the false ego saying, how does it react to my sense of aham, who I am? If I am intelligent, it means something else. If I am here to just do something and get the money, I will react in another way. Or if I'm here to be of value for others, I will react in a different way. All of that. Just a minute, because I'm opening the door here. I'm sorry, came back. So all of these, which are, in other words, we ourselves are also the causes. I mean, the conditioning that we have also play a very important role in the activities that we see in this world. So it's finally God sanctions it based on our desire. And he has to create a world for us also to satisfy that desire. So he creates multiple worlds. So we have multiple universes. In some universes, Brahma of 4 heads, some universes, Brahma of 10 heads, and the world around it, like how things get manifested, also keep changing depending on our consciousness here. So my main point was, when we are reading this verse here about how the material energy functions, finally, Srila Prabhupada, at the end of the purport, towards the end, he had mentioned, I'm trying to see where it is. Only when one knows Lord Krishna's greatness can one firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. And something that stops us from knowing Krishna's greatness is being too caught in the activities and the result of activities, not stepping back to see that I and others are acting on the basis of their false ego, on the basis of a body that they have got, on the basis of wanting to sustain the life, which means sustaining uh, the life within that body, their sense of aham, and finally, what the Supreme Lord wants. One has to step back and see that from the perspective of the Bhagavad Gita. And then one is able to understand why people are behave so in a particular way. That is okay to say people behave in a particular way, but it puts all the more the focus on us that if I want to transform my false ego into spiritual ego, that is a true aham that I want to do it, then I have to take steps to not always react on the basis of what I see with how I perceive with my senses. That is also important. I have to see karmana deva netrena, the hand of God behind everything. And how do I know what is the hand of God? Sometimes somebody may come and, like, say, there's a big protest on the street. Is this God wanted? Is this what people want? To do that, to know it as a matter of fact, is where this reading of scriptures becomes important. So just coming back to the first point I said, the nimitta karana and upadana karana. According to Gaudiya Vaishnavism, God is both the nimitta karana and the upadana karana. According to the Madhva philosophy, God is the efficient cause, but not the material cause. Because if he is the material cause, according to the Madhva philosophy, he is contaminated. So Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it's different. According to the Advaitans, also it's different. But they all have their own justifications in various ways. And so those who are interested can go and read that. That's it, bro. 7:15.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for giving your views on the summary of it. Okay, I think it's 7:15. We'll wind up for today. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। His Holiness Rompa Samarash की जय।
Hare Krishna
श्रील
Prabhu.
प्रभुपाद की जय।